I'm Melinda Schneider, singer, songwriter and country music artist. I live in coastal New South Wales with my partner Mark and my beautiful 7-year-old son Sullivan. So I started on stage at the age of 3 and first recorded when I was 8 years old. My public image as an 8-year-old was a happy little pretty thing. Putting out that image and showing the very best sides of myself always. I just kept that going without even realising it. And it's just something that I've presented for 40 years. My family had very high standards and I felt immense pressure to achieve those, even if they were unattainable. At 13, I was on a country practice. I made my acting debut on a country practice. After that, I left school and went straight into fashion design. Because my mum's an artist, there was a lot of pressure to be the same as mum. My mum's most well known for her yodeling, so there was a lot of pressure I felt from outside, mum's fan base and stuff, that I yodel like her. I think I had to pull right away from music and try and find my own identity. I went to TAFE to really, indulge another one of my passions, which was fashion. And I did 3 years a fashion technology course there and had my own label for a couple of years. So I was about 18, 19 at this point, and I was slaving over a hot sewing machine in my parents' double garage. I had my own workshop there and everything, and I was making evening wear for people and stage costumes and stuff like that. But I'd be singing at the top of my lungs to the American Top 40, and my mum would come down and say, "Are you sure you don't want to be a singer?" Mum was right. I did really love music more than anything. So at about 18, I started songwriting. I just knew deep down that was going to be the key to me finding my true self. So it wasn't really until 28 that I released my first album and then won my first golden guitar at Tamworth. I'd found my voice, I'd found my style of music. I didn't have to yodel like mum, although I was a country artist and I was all about my songs and my true stories that I would write about. And I was kind of being rewarded for that, which was really validating for me. When I first experienced that first taste of success, I thought, I can do this really well. And then I think I kind of got addicted to success. And that really perpetuated a whole lot of workaholism. I was just a workaholic. For the next 20 years, I had been addicted to achieving stuff and achieving it at a very high level. Even when I had successes, I didn't sit in them for very long. I didn't go, "Good on you, Melinda, you've done that. Just enjoy that." I couldn't even enjoy anything. I just go, "Okay, done that. Now what's next?" And it was just this thing, this cycle, something inside me driving me to keep searching for more success, more perfection. Close enough wasn't good enough. It had to be incredible. Anything else is considered a failure. Either incredible or crap. They were the two options, nothing in between. I didn't really notice that I was experiencing any, mental health issues at all. I knew that I felt incredibly stressed all the time. But I just thought that was me being driven. I did have a few red flags, maybe the last, 8 years since my little boy Sullivan was born when I was nearly 41. Again, wanting to be the perfect earth mother for him, to breastfeed him for 4 years. He loved Booby. He was crazy about Booby. And I wanted to meet all of his needs, and because of this perfectionistic side of me, I had to meet them perfectly. So I was managing myself. I was doing my Doris Day theatre show, 8 shows a week, because I was so exhausted I'd say to Mark, I've got to get this second album out, this second Doris album. And I'd say, but I'm so tired. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I want to do it. It's like, well, don't do it. And I'd say, but I have to keep going. I have to keep moving forward with my career. But mainly my true self saying, I can't do this anymore. I'm tired, which I did not listen to. I did not listen to that inner voice telling me to stop. 2 years ago on Mother's Day, I came home after a performance that I did. I remember coming home and just saying, I'm not very well. Something's happened to me. I don't know what it is, but I'm not myself. So Mark said to me, look, go to bed, stop working. You're working too hard. You never have any time off. Go to bed and watch Netflix. Do not work. Just curl up in the fetal position, have a cry, do whatever you need to do, but don't work. So that's basically what I did. I took his advice and I went to bed for 6 weeks. I felt like I couldn't move. All I could do was lay there and feel what I was feeling, which was a lot of sadness, a lot of hopelessness. You don't realise at the time that those feelings will pass, and they do pass, but it feels like they're never going to pass. It feels like you're going to be like that forever. So after that initial 6 weeks in bed, I slowly started to feel better. I think just allowing my body to stop and heal really helped. I went to my GP at that time, who believed I had adrenal fatigue. She said, you've probably got depression. She said, perhaps you should go on some medication. And I was like, no medication. I'm not going on medication. I was really against it. I had my own stigma around it, which is weird because Mark has been on medication for the whole time I've known him. But for me, it was just this, again, more shame, Oh no, I'm not going to go on medication. It's okay for Mark to be on it, but I'm not going to go on it. It really wasn't until the following year, April last year, 2019, that the depression came back. I started working again. I started these high expectations of myself that I couldn't achieve. And I was halfway through recording my new album and I just burst out crying one day. And as soon as I called the producer and said, I have to put this on hold, I felt tremendous relief. In May, a month later, I lost a couple of really close friends. My neighbour across the road died, and he was such a wonderful, joyful, funny character. And then about 2 weeks after that, I lost my old flatmate to suicide. And that just hit me so hard. I think because I had depression already, then that on top of it, it was just too much. So I found a psychiatrist, and he tried to suggest medication straight away. Again, I wasn't interested. I'm like, no, I don't want medication. I can do this on my own. So it took me probably another month or so of being in the depths of sadness and grief, as well as the depression, for me to really come to terms with the fact that I needed help. I went on the meds, and about 10 days after I started taking them, they kicked in, and I was so much better. I've been on the meds for a year now. Being gentle on yourself, for me, means stopping judgment, treating myself with the unconditional love that I treat my child with. And I think that's very hard for a lot of adults to do. It takes practice. When we're rushing around all the time, that switches on your fight or flight mechanism, and you can't get out of it. It's a cycle that just keeps going and going and going, and it's very hard to switch that off. Working at a steady pace. I've learned that with my research into anxiety. The advice was to just work at a steady pace. And I say that to myself quite often during the day. If I feel that I'm starting to rush, I go, no, Melinda, work at a steady pace. It's okay, you don't have to rush. I actually feel pretty proud of myself because I've learned so much about mental health in the last 2 years. I've learned a lot about myself, and I'm a lot more aware of what's going on internally. It's a work in progress.